For decades, Jeff Chandler's life has been shrouded in questions, whispers, and speculation. To the public, he was the charming star with the striking presence. The kind of actor whose name lit up marquees and whose face seemed to belong on every magazine cover. But behind the glitz and glamour, there was a mystery that no one could quite unravel. Strange decisions, sudden career shifts, and personal struggles created a cloud of uncertainty that followed him until now. The shocking truth has finally come to light, and it isn't what anyone hoped to hear. What happened to Jeff Chandler, the twists, the hidden challenges, and the personal battles, reveals a story far more complex than the smiling, confident star the world remembers. Friends, colleagues, and fans alike have long wondered about the struggles he faced, but the real story is darker, stranger, and far more heartbreaking than the rumors suggested. From unexpected career obstacles to health struggles and private decisions that shocked those closest to him, Chandler's story uncovers the harsh realities of life behind the silver screen. The mystery that baffled Hollywood insiders and casual fans alike isn't just about lost opportunities. It's about choices, circumstances, and events that changed the trajectory of his life forever. Now, finally, the pieces fall into place. The curtain has been pulled back, and the truth about Jeff Chandler is out in the open. What emerges is a portrait of a man who faced extraordinary challenges, sometimes alone, sometimes misunderstood, and whose life story carries lessons that go far beyond the entertainment world. Prepare to see Jeff Chandler in a completely new light. This revelation is uncomfortable, unexpected, and deeply human, and it changes everything we thought we knew about him. Jeff Chandler was more than just a name in Hollywood. He was a presence. With a commanding voice, chiseled features, and a charisma that seemed to light up the screen, he captured the attention of audiences from the moment he appeared in his first major roles. Born as Ira Grossel in 1918, Chandler transformed himself into a Hollywood leading man whose rise seemed destined for greatness. His talent, combined with the era's hunger for polished, handsome stars, propelled him into films that became instant classics, from action-packed adventures to romantic dramas. By the 1950s, Chandler was at the pinnacle of his career. He was nominated for Academy Awards, starred in top-grossing films, and earned the respect of both critics and peers. His signature baritone voice, paired with his on-screen magnetism, made him unforgettable. Fans adored him. Studios relied on him to carry projects. Colleagues admired his professionalism. On the surface, Jeff Chandler had it all: fame, fortune, and the Hollywood dream many spent a lifetime chasing. But behind the camera, a different story was unfolding, one far more complicated than anyone could see. Chandler's personal life was marked by contradictions and struggles that clashed with his public persona. While he appeared confident and untouchable in films and interviews, those closest to him noticed moments of restlessness, periods of unexplained tension, and decisions that didn't align with his career's momentum. Sudden contract disputes, unusual choices in film roles, and private health struggles hinted at a side of Chandler that Hollywood never truly understood. Colleagues sometimes whispered about his temperament, his occasional withdrawal from projects, or the way he seemed to be grappling with invisible pressures. Fans, of course, only saw the charm and the success, never suspecting that the man they admired was quietly facing challenges that could reshape his life. Even in his peak, Chandler carried the weight of questions that had no easy answers. Questions about personal decisions, professional sacrifices, and the circumstances that would eventually turn his career in unexpected directions. It's also important to note the pressures of the Hollywood system itself. During Chandler's era, studios wielded enormous control over actors' careers, often dictating personal and professional choices. For a man like Chandler, whose ambition and talent demanded growth and independence, these constraints were stifling. Choices that might have seemed trivial, rejecting certain roles, pushing back against studio demands, often had long-term consequences, creating rifts and lost opportunities that were never publicly explained. The mystery surrounding Chandler wasn't limited to his career. His private life, including his relationships and health, became part of the larger puzzle. He was a man admired for his poise and grace, yet privately he navigated a labyrinth of personal challenges that few understood. Some speculate that these hidden struggles influenced his sudden decisions, while others suggest a combination of chance, circumstance, and timing played a major role. As Chapter 1 closes, it becomes clear that the Jeff Chandler story is not just one of fame and cinematic success. It is also the story of a man whose life contained unanswered questions, unexplained choices, and hidden struggles, a mystery that would linger for decades. And while the world remembers the star on the screen, the full story behind Jeff Chandler, the man is far more complex, fraught with tension, and ultimately tragic. The pieces of this mystery, scattered across years of public triumphs and private trials, are only now coming together. What lies ahead will reveal truths that are both surprising and deeply unsettling, proving that the life of Jeff Chandler was far more complicated than anyone ever realized. In the mid-1950s, Jeff Chandler had achieved what many actors only dream of. He was a household name, the face of romantic leads and action heroes, and a figure studios trusted to carry major productions. Yet beneath the polished exterior and carefully curated public persona, the cracks were beginning to show. The man Hollywood celebrated for his confidence and charm was struggling with pressures that few could comprehend. One of the first signs of trouble was Chandler's growing frustration with the studio system. While he was grateful for the opportunities that catapulted him to fame, he was increasingly aware of how much control the studios wielded over his career. Roles were assigned, public appearances were dictated, and personal life was scrutinized to maintain the image the industry demanded. For a man of Chandler's intelligence and ambition, these constraints became suffocating. Small disagreements over film choices or contract terms began to escalate, creating tension that few outside the inner circle could see. At the same time, Chandler faced personal challenges that complicated his life even further. Rumors of health problems, which he often kept private, began to circulate quietly among friends and colleagues. While he maintained a stoic presence on set and in public, these health issues added another layer of stress. Combined with the relentless pressure to succeed, the demands of fame, and the constant scrutiny, Chandler's life began to resemble a high-wire act, balancing on the edge of public admiration and private turmoil. Relationships added another dimension to the mystery. While Chandler was admired for his charm and charisma, those closest to him noticed patterns that didn't fit the Hollywood image. There were periods of withdrawal, sudden absences, and moments of introspection that raised questions. Friends and co-stars often speculated privately. Was he struggling with personal loss, disappointment, or deeper psychological pressures? These unanswered questions only added to the growing aura of enigma surrounding him. Even professionally, Chandler's decisions puzzled both fans and insiders. He sometimes turned down roles that seemed perfect for him, only to take on projects that appeared out of character. His career trajectory, which should have followed a steady upward path, was marked by unexpected detours and delays. These choices fueled speculation and rumors, many of which painted a confusing picture of a man whose brilliance on screen seemed at odds with the struggles behind it. Adding to the complexity was the era itself. Hollywood in the 1950s was glamorous on the surface, but notoriously harsh behind the scenes. Studio politics, unspoken rules, and constant competition created a landscape where missteps could be career-ending. Chandler's navigation of this environment required not just talent, but strategy, resilience, and occasionally compromise. The mystery of his life, therefore, cannot be separated from the pressures of the time, which shaped both his public success and private challenges. By the end of this period, it was clear that Jeff Chandler's story was more than just a rise to stardom. It was a narrative filled with tension between public admiration and private struggle, between career triumphs and personal setbacks. Fans knew the charm. Hollywood knew the talent. Only a few understood the underlying battles that shaped his choices and ultimately contributed to the mystery surrounding him. As Chapter 2 closes, the pieces begin to come together, hinting at the turning points that would define Chandler's life. The secrets, the health struggles, the career decisions, and the personal battles all form a puzzle that, until now, remained unsolved. The story of Jeff Chandler is no longer just about the man on screen. It's about the shadows behind the spotlight, the unseen challenges that haunted him, and the mystery that would linger for decades. As the 1960s approached, Jeff Chandler's career and personal life began to enter a period that would define the lingering mystery surrounding him. On the surface, he remained the consummate Hollywood star, handsome, charming, and seemingly untouchable. Yet, the cracks that had appeared earlier were growing more pronounced, and the events of this period would shape the narrative of his life in ways that fans and historians alike struggled to understand. One of the major turning points was Chandler's health challenges. For years, he had battled undisclosed medical issues, which he kept private to maintain his public image. Colleagues on set noticed him occasionally faltering during long filming schedules, sometimes appearing drained or distracted. These health problems, combined with the relentless demands of stardom, placed enormous strain on him. The irony was that the very charm and energy that made him so magnetic on screen masked the personal difficulties he faced behind the scenes. Few could imagine the toll these struggles were taking, and even fewer understood the long-term impact they would have on his career. At the same time, Chandler's professional choices continued to puzzle Hollywood insiders. He occasionally declined major roles, shocking studio executives who had expected him to accept anything offered. When he did accept projects, some seemed ill-suited to his established persona. These decisions fueled speculation about his state of mind, his priorities, and even his motives. Was he seeking artistic satisfaction, personal fulfillment, or simply trying to regain some control over a career that had been largely dictated by studio contracts? The truth, it turns out, was more complicated than anyone suspected. Personal relationships added yet another layer to the mystery. Friends recalled periods of isolation, times when Chandler withdrew from social circles, and private struggles that he shared with only a few trusted confidants. Rumors swirled about the emotional toll of fame, unfulfilled personal ambitions, and the constant pressure to maintain his image. Each anecdote painted a portrait of a man whose outward success belied the inner turbulence he faced daily. Even as he navigated these challenges, Chandler remained committed to his craft. He worked tirelessly to deliver performances that were both memorable and nuanced, earning praise from critics and respect from peers. Yet the tension between professional excellence and personal difficulty created a fragile balance, one that could easily tip. It was during this period that the public began to notice inconsistencies in his career trajectory, the very inconsistencies that contributed to the decades-long mystery surrounding him. By the late 1960s, these combined pressures, health issues, personal struggles, and unpredictable career choices had solidified the enigmatic narrative of Jeff Chandler's life. The man who seemed so assured on screen was facing profound challenges off-screen, challenges that would remain largely unknown until researchers and historians began piecing together the full story decades later. Chapter 3 highlights the turning points that deepened the mystery, the hidden health battles, the perplexing career moves, and the private struggles that few understood. It is a chapter of contrasts, a public figure at the height of fame, yet privately navigating pressures and obstacles that seemed nearly insurmountable. The seeds of the mystery that would perplex generations had fully taken root. As the story moves forward, the final chapter will reveal the truth behind Jeff Chandler's enigmatic life, the shocking realities that answer questions fans had been asking for decades. This is where the full picture emerges, and where the public finally sees the man behind the mask of Hollywood perfection. After decades of speculation, rumors, and unanswered questions, the mystery of Jeff Chandler's life has finally been pieced together, and the truth is far darker than anyone imagined. While Chandler was celebrated as one of Hollywood's most charismatic leading men, the reality behind the camera was one of struggle, heartbreak, and choices that would forever alter the trajectory of his life. One of the most significant revelations concerns his health. Chandler's previously undisclosed medical conditions were more serious than contemporaries realized. Chronic ailments, combined with the demanding schedules of a top-tier Hollywood actor, left him physically and mentally exhausted. The man who always appeared composed on screen was privately fighting a battle that few could see or understand. His determination to maintain a perfect public image forced him to endure these struggles largely in isolation, adding layers to the enigmatic narrative that had long surrounded him. The mystery also deepened when looking at his career decisions. Chandler's sudden refusals of high-profile roles and abrupt changes in direction were not arbitrary. Many stemmed from a desire to protect his health, maintain a sense of personal integrity, and exert some control in an industry notorious for exploitation. Unfortunately, these choices often backfired publicly, leaving fans and studio executives confused and frustrated. To outsiders, the story seemed inexplicable. In reality, it was a careful, if imperfect, balancing act between survival and ambition. Adding another layer, Chandler's personal life was marked by isolation and quiet heartbreak. Close friends revealed that he struggled with loneliness and emotional stress, compounded by the pressures of fame and the inability to confide fully in anyone. Relationships that might have provided comfort were complicated by Hollywood's social landscape, the constant scrutiny of the public eye, and Chandler's own determination to shield his private world from gossip. These private struggles, combined with public misunderstanding, amplified the sense of mystery that had long surrounded him. The culmination of these factors, hidden health challenges, complex personal relationships, and career choices that defied explanation, finally provides a clear, if unsettling, picture. Jeff Chandler was a man whose brilliance and charisma masked profound difficulties. The mystery that lasted decades was not the result of scandal or wrongdoing, but of circumstances, choices, and pressures that few could have anticipated or understood. Perhaps the most sobering realization is that fame and talent, while celebrated, do not shield one from hardship. Chandler's life reminds us that public perception often conceals private reality. The man who seemed untouchable, confident and successful was, in truth, navigating a labyrinth of challenges that ultimately shaped every aspect of his life, and left a legacy that is as tragic as it is compelling. In the end, the Jeff Chandler mystery teaches an important lesson. The brightest stars may burn fiercely on screen, but can struggle quietly behind the scenes. The revelation that his life was fraught with struggle and heartbreak is uncomfortable, but it is also a testament to his resilience. For all the charm, talent, and success he displayed publicly, Chandler's story reminds us that the human experience is rarely as simple as it appears. The mystery is solved, but the truth isn't good. It's a narrative of challenges, of battles fought in private, and of a man whose public persona could never fully convey the depth of his personal struggles. Jeff Chandler's life, now fully understood, stands as both a warning and a reminder. Appearances can deceive, and even the brightest lights may hide shadows that only time and careful research can uncover.